Brought to you by DK Audio.
DK Audio presents How to Raise an Amazing Child the Montessori Way, written by Tim Seldin, read by Robert G. Slade. Introduction. I can't remember a time when I wasn't involved in the world of Montessori education. For me, it is a complete way of life. An often asked question is, what is the secret that allows one or two adults to manage large groups of children in an atmosphere of peace? The answer is, to a large degree, that Montessori teachers consciously learn to establish cooperative classroom communities. This book is intended to show parents how they can apply the same principles to their family's daily life. As authors, we can barely remember a time when we weren't involved in the world of Montessori education. For us, it is a way of life. This book draws on our personal experiences as children, as parents, as Montessori guides, and as parenting coaches to many families who have sought a better way to raise their families in a spirit of kindness, respect, and partnership. Much of what we have learned came from observing and working with parents and children, and from raising our own families. Being a parent is a full-time job that is often equally joyful and exhausting. The history books would make you think that raising a family is straightforward. Mums stay at home and looked after the children, while dads went out to work. Children were generally obedient, if only because their parents kept a tight rein on their activities and punished them severely if they went astray. But this is not an accurate representation of parenting, nor has it ever been. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to parenting, because each family unit is unique. There are all sorts of families: single working mums, stay-at-home dads, families where children have two mums and dads, and families with 3 or more generations living together. At the same time, there is a growing awareness of how important the right environment and experiences are for infants, toddlers, and young children. We understand children's brains are programmed to learn, which is why stimulating them in developmentally appropriate ways is especially essential in the early years. And it never stops. As children grow up, they continue to need plenty of time, attention, engagement, and support, all the way into young adulthood. Most of us long to give our children the best home environment that we possibly can within the limits of our time and resources. The mission that we undertake as parents is not simply to feed, cuddle, and protect our children. We also want to teach them to become independent, self-confident, successful adults who are happy and fulfilled. While that journey takes many years, it helps to have an idea of where we are heading and why we do what we do. If you are eager for a fresh perspective and some practical suggestions, then this book is for you. It is filled not only with practical guidance and ideas for activities to do together, but also with the message that life is meant to be celebrated. The small, everyday things that we can do to reaffirm our love for one another can make all the difference. Tim Seldin, President, the Montessori Foundation. Why Montessori? Raising a well-rounded child in today's world. Children are one of life's greatest gifts, but raising caring, happy children in this modern world can be a challenge to any parent. Connected for life. Our connection with our children is formed before birth and lasts for our entire lives. Over the years, we are right there beside them as they learn to smile, crawl, speak their first words, take their first steps, and together we mark all the milestones in their journey towards adulthood. Life with children is not always easy. Along with the hugs and cuddles, We share their sleepless nights, the times when they are ill, their temper tantrums and fights with siblings, and the many other challenges of being a parent. As they get older, it seems that our children come to know us better than we know ourselves. They learn what buttons to push to make us aggravated, and how they can best manipulate us into giving in over something that they want. There are times when we wish our children came with a parenting manual. It is not unusual for parents to be unsure about how to raise kind children in this modern world. All around, our children see and hear other children answering back to their parents, arguing in the playground, and saying unkind things to one another. Parenting advice abounds, but much of it doesn't seem to work particularly well. This is in part because it tends to offer a cookbook approach with detailed suggestions about what to do in specific situations, rather than a comprehensive, systematic approach to parenting. A different approach. My life has been touched deeply by the work of a brilliant woman, Maria Montessori. As a child, I went to a wonderful school that was inspired by her work, and as an adult, I have had the privilege to teach in and later lead that same school for 25 years. Her message and the insights and practical strategies that she taught have influenced hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of parents and children around the world. The Montessori approach is best known in the schools that bear her name, but it is equally useful and easy to adopt in your own home. Montessori's principles for working with children are based on a holistic approach that begins at birth, or as young as possible, and builds over the years as children become more mature. Understood correctly, it has the advantage of working very well with a wide range of children. It is an entire system that has been tested over the past 100 years and can be implemented as a whole or in part. Try it. You should find that it works for you too. To do this, you don't need to become a Montessori teacher, nor is there a need to create a Montessori school in your home. But by implementing as many of the suggestions in this book as you can into your home and your family's life, I believe that you will find yourself becoming more effective as a parent and more able to build a home filled with warmth, love, kindness, and respect. Testing limits. As children begin to demonstrate their drive for independence, the challenges of parenthood become more apparent. What is Montessori? 100 years ago, a young Italian woman devised a new approach to educating children based on a foundation of encouragement, independence, confidence, and respect. New approach to learning. Maria Montessori was born in 1870 in Italy, a country that, at that time, was especially conservative in its attitude towards women. Despite many obstacles, Montessori was the first Italian woman to become a doctor. She went on to teach at the medical school of the University of Rome, and through its free clinics came into frequent contact with the children of the poor. Through her work, she became convinced that each and every child is born with amazing human potential, which can develop only if adults provide children with the right stimulation during the first few years of life. Anxious to prove her point, in 1907, Montessori started to oversee a nursery for working-class children who were too young to go to school. Located in one of Rome's worst slums, this became her first Casa dei Bambini, or children's house. Growing up with little attention and in appalling conditions, many of the children who entered were aggressive, impatient, and disorderly. Montessori began her work by teaching the older children how to help out with everyday tasks. To her amazement, 3- and 4-year-olds took great delight in learning practical living skills. Soon, these children were taking care of the school, assisting with the preparation.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?